Have you recently seen an Instagram video of Ja Morant holding what appears to be a handgun up in a club? Let me tell you a criminal defense attorney's perspective on this and what may happen to you if this happened in New Jersey. My name is Daniel Rosenberg. I'm a criminal defense attorney and the founding partner of Rosenberg, Perry & Associates. And it is my goal and passion to provide education and information to individuals about the criminal justice system before they become involved and entrenched in the system. And you may have seen recently in the news that Ja Morant was allegedly displaying a handgun while on Instagram Live in a club in Glendale, Colorado. Now, the Glendale, Colorado Police Department elected not to issue any charges, and the department issued a statement that they were not able to determine any probable cause for the issuing of any criminal charges. Now, each state is free to create and enforce all of its own laws, and Colorado is no different. Now, I can't speak to the law in Colorado, but what I can do is address the question of what would happen if this happened in New Jersey. So what are the known facts in Ja Morant's case? Well, there's an Instagram video that shows what appears to be Ja Morant displaying a handgun while he's on Instagram Live in a club singing along to music. Now, other than the video, we're not aware of any other evidence in the case. Specifically, there's no allegations that Ja Morant was in an altercation in the club. There's no allegations that Ja Morant brandished or showed the weapon to anyone else in the club. And more specifically, there's no eyewitnesses that can testify that they saw Ja Morant with a handgun in the club that night. Now, you may say, well, Ja Morant wasn't charged in Colorado, so displaying a handgun live on Instagram is legal in Colorado. That's just simply not true. What it means is that these specific facts, in this specific case, in that specific jurisdiction, there wasn't enough to charge Ja Morant. Or maybe there was. There may have been enough to charge Ja Morant, but the person who was in charge of making that decision ultimately decided they didn't want to proceed with it or there wasn't enough evidence. Regardless of what jurisdiction you're in, that fact is never going to change. Whether or not you're charged is determined by a person, an individual. And whether you're in Colorado or the state of New Jersey, whoever's making the decision, your fate is in their hands. So for those of you in New Jersey, anyone curious about what would happen to you if the same exact thing took place right here at a local club? Here's what Ja Morant could have been dealing with if this happened in New Jersey. Well, first of all, the potential charges include unlawful possession of a weapon, second degree, and possession of a weapon for an unlawful purpose, second degree. Both crimes have criminal exposure of between 5 and 10 years in state prison with a 3.5-year period of parole ineligibility. It is illegal to possess a handgun inside a club unless you have a permit to carry. In New Jersey, you cannot have a firearm in a public place unless you have a permit to carry. And until recently, it was virtually impossible to obtain a permit to carry concealed in New Jersey. So in Ja Morant's case, unless he had a permit to carry in the state of New Jersey, not from any other state, then he would be in violation of the law by having that handgun, even if he didn't brandish it, even if he didn't use it. That's a crime of the second degree in New Jersey. So the point is, if this happened to Ja Morant in New Jersey, he'd be facing a crime of the second degree and exposed to 5 to 10 years in state prison with 3.5 years of parole ineligibility. So if this happens to you in the state of New Jersey, what do you do? The first thing you do is you invoke your right to remain silent and you contact an attorney. Anything you say moving forward can be used against you in a criminal case. So if you go on Twitter and apologize, if you make a public statement and accept responsibility, all of that can be used against you. And while they may not be able to prove their case without your words, you giving that statement gives them more evidence to bring charges. The next thing we would do is contact the prosecutor's office and law enforcement and engage in a dialogue. If there's any way to avoid charges, it's going to be by having communication with law enforcement. In all likelihood, in Ja Morant's case, he hired an attorney, and those attorneys contacted law enforcement in Colorado, and they had a dialogue. In addition, we can highlight some of the issues that they're going to have if they do elect to charge. For instance, in New Jersey, they would have to prove that that's a real firearm and not an imitation firearm. And if it's an imitation firearm, it's no longer a crime of the second degree. Now it's a crime of the fourth degree, where your exposure drops from 5 years in state prison to 18 months. These are just some of the defense strategies and criminal laws that we would rely on to help best defend our client in this situation. An excellent criminal defense attorney once said, "Every one of us can guarantee that we will not commit a crime, but none of us can guarantee that we will never be accused of one. And when you are thrown into this criminal justice system. And when that happens, you need advice and representation that you can trust." So if you or a friend or family member has been charged with a gun offense in New Jersey, we're here to help. Contact our office and schedule an appointment. We'll take the time we need to go over your case, give you your options, and we do all of this free of charge. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if there are any topics that you'd like to learn more about, please leave a comment below or contact our office. We are criminal trial attorneys. We have your back. That's what we do.